Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of DNA Crows with Crow here. And today, if you are a fan of college football, I am so sorry for your loss. Apparently, a game between Harvard and Yale was put on hold because a large group of climate change activists from the school showed up. They stormed onto the field. They refused to leave. And I guess the game just nobody wins. Hashtag nobody wins. And you know, they're celebrating. They're kind of like celebrating that they got all these people together to go and do this. It's not the first time we've seen flash protests and we've seen a bunch of people storm a field. But this is pretty entertaining to watch, I'm not gonna lie. Now, the thing is, I do disagree with this method because, and it gets pointed out in the comment section for this tweet, this doesn't affect anything. This is purely to get people's attention. Now, my thing is, if you think the world is going to end, I don't think that you need to be getting people's attention. I think you need to go and start working on solving the problem. I don't think this solves the problem. What I think this does is it actually upsets and angers people. And, you know, when you're at Harvard and Yale, you're talking about pretty well-off people who certainly are okay with this. You know, they're okay with the protests. They're okay with using their influence to make the world a greater place. But when you do this to your average person, and obviously your average person is probably not going to be watching a Harvard and Yale football game, but we've seen these activists go out there and disrupt traffic. We've seen them jump onto public transportation and prevent people from going to work. Now, obviously you're getting people's attention, but when you go about it in a way that I mean, public transportation is one of the ways of dealing with our carbon footprint, you know? You should be using public transportation when you can. If you can't, then obviously then you need to use a car. But when you see people like disrupt public transportation, when you see them do stuff like this, I mean, sure, you have people's attention, but what now? You know, what are you trying to stop the United States from doing? Now, I was fortunate enough to have someone check my numbers, and the U.S. does have pretty large emissions going out. But at the same time, you have double that from China. You have other developing nations that are putting out way more carbon emissions than they should be based on their population, because for them, it's just cheaper to burn through fossil fuels. We're not addressing that problem at all. What we're talking about is banning all fossil fuels from the United States. Which, okay, what about everywhere else? You're not resolving. What you would do, essentially, is kill the U.S. economy, drive millions of people into poverty, and for what? You would do nothing. You wouldn't make a dent in anything. Because at the end of the day, those other nations that are developing right now, well, they would just grow and expand. And because the United States has basically sworn off fossil fuels, they'll destroy us. I don't mean destroy us by going to war with us. I mean, they would just destroy us financially. China would absolutely crush us in that scenario because they don't care about the environment, because they don't have to deal with climate change activists, because these people will show up all over the United States and all over UK and demand that they stop using fossil fuels, even though they are not the worst offenders by any measure, and completely ignore where the actual problem is. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this is because I was reading through this thread, and there was an interesting conversation that happened, starting with this gentleman here. Disrupting a football game will not win you support. I didn't know football games have a high carbon footprint, but I bet most of you will use vehicles with internal combustion engines to get home. Hypocritical at best, at worst, ill-thought grandstanding. And there's a reason why I agree with this, and that's because I've seen a couple of these protests and how they leave things. They leave their trash everywhere. They leave their signs, they leave their banners, they leave their freaking confetti and junk all over the place. They create a mess, they create a disturbance, and then they pat themselves on the back as if they did something good. Like, there's nothing... I can understand that there are good people involved in this. And I can understand there are people who are legitimately worried, but if you're panicking, if you're pulling off stunts like this, are you really changing things? Or are you turning public opinion against you? Because I'm looking at the comments here, right? Dude's getting a bunch of likes, but I'm looking at the things people are saying here, and they're not positive at all. This one person did jump in to defend the protest, but I think that their comments are pretty telling here, because they say that it's only about publicity, and that's the point. Well, but what do you want? Like, how are you going to address people's concerns? The fact of the matter is, there is no conversation that can actually be had between, rational people amongst both sides, because you're doing junk like this. You're going to turn people's opinions against you when you jump on top of a subway and you refuse to let people use public transportation. You're basically forcing them to get into a car. And you're causing damage to the environment, but your response is, well, I got publicity, so that means I win. What are you winning? If you actually thought the world was going to end, which many of these people do, and I mean legit thinks the world is going to end to the point where they will not have children. If you actually think that, what the hell are you doing out on a football field? And this Noah person legit says, no, the point of this is to make more people aware of a very important issue. You think people were even thinking about the climate before this? If it wasn't in their minds before, it is now. I think about the environment. I just disagree with what your plans are. But I can't have a rational conversation, because I've tried talking to climate change activists, and they will not speak to you. They are right. They are right. They are right. The world is ending, and you're a terrible person if you don't agree. That's not... I mean, the world may as well just end at that point. But look, Noah's response: no, people are thinking, look at these assholes not making any change and wasting everyone's time instead of doing something about it. Thank you. Results over a message. I have personally planted trees and gone on hours walks to pick up trash. You don't see me with signs and banners. And look, what's more important, a football game or Earth? Boo boo, you had a small inconvenience. See, this is the thing. This person just told you what the actual issue is. And this Jeremy dude jumps in to basically say, boo-hoo, boo-boo. Like, come on. You can't have a rational conversation, because it's all going to just devolve into stupid comments like that. The person is correct. When you see people who run out to a place that doesn't even have a high carbon footprint, like go to a Ford dealership and protest the sale of big giant SUVs. No, you go to a football game and you disrupt everyone's time and you tell them you need to think about it. I guarantee you, those people are not thinking about the climate. They're thinking, oh my God, these people are jackasses. And the ones who actually are concerned about the climate are sitting there looking at it like, wow, that's ridiculous. This didn't help the environment at all. And the idea that when you were told flat out, right, that what matters is actually going out and making change. What matters is actually going out and planting trees. What actually is going out and picking up trash, picking up plastic bottles, putting them in recycling. These are very basic things everyone can do. It's a message everyone needs to hear. And the response is, what's more important, football game or Earth? Shut up. Like, just shut up. At a certain point, you obviously don't care. You care more about being right than you do the environment. If you cared about the environment, you would go protest places that are actually affecting the environment. You'd go and protest. You go protest Ford. You go protest dealerships. I work for a dealership. Obviously I don't want to deal with protesters, but we had to in the past when I worked in Fremont and the Newey plant shut down. We had protesters like up and down the streets because they were losing their jobs, and I felt bad for them, but at least I understood. I would understand if there were people showing up to a dealership to protest the sale of cars. I could understand that. I don't understand this. I don't understand showing up to an event in which it likely all got driven there. Let's be honest. You sit down, you disrupt everyone's time, and I guarantee you left your trash everywhere. Because that's what happens every single time. That's not caring about the environment. That's showing up to protest and having a good day. I don't think that everybody there is necessarily a bad person. I feel like the efforts are so misguided. They're placed right in the wrong directions every single time. And if all these activists are doing is seeking to gain attention and put this into the public spotlight, I can guarantee you they're in the public spotlight. They look like they are crazy. They look like jackasses. They disrupt things that would be beneficial to the environment because they want the attention more. I get it. I get that attention is important, especially if you think the world is going to end, but my gosh, you need to have a fucking plan. If the world is going to end, everybody running around with their arms in the air, screaming, saying, I won't have children because the world is doomed. I'm not going to trust you people. I don't know why anybody thinks that inspires confidence in you. You've basically given up. You have. You have. You said the world isn't going to work and I'm done with it. I'm going to do my own thing. Like, come on, we can do certain things, but, you know, I look at divest Harvard. We call upon Harvard to divest its endowment from fossil fuel companies and reinvest responsibly. Hey, I get that. I do. This isn't the way of doing it, though. Stop protesting. Stop demanding other people change. Get off your asses and do it yourself.